Yeah, this is Gene and Gio. We're going to talk about the newish book, Handcrafted CSS by Dan Cederholm.
Great book.
Great book. He's former author of the Bulletproof Web Design book,
Yep.
which is one of the staples in my bookshelf.
Yeah.
So this book has come out. I think it came out at the end of last year, 2009, and both Gio and I have read this, and we just wanted to talk about some of the concepts and things in it.
I've read it more than once.
You read it more than
Yeah,
once?
because I kind of used it to learn about some of these progressive methods and approaches to using them.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
it was great for me. I loved it.
First off, the thing I liked about it most was that it didn't come off as a textbook. You know, it comes off as he presents it as a philosophy.
Yeah, I agree. That was the thing that I thought was so great about it, was that it does go through, some steps, teaches you about specific things, and even kind of like browser-specific problems with those, with implementation. But I love the way he approaches the material and talks about, what the web could be and how to use it. And
yeah, it's a little more than just a tips and tricks book. I mean,
Definitely.
It goes into the nature of what we do, I think.
Definitely.
Well, to give a little technical detail, he starts out with his case study, which is he uses a tugboat coffee company or whatever. But the thing is that the tugboat coffee company website design is actually like really damn good.
Yeah.
I remember looking at the site going, whoa, that's a great looking site design, just for an example. And that's kind of where he starts going into a lot of details and things. And I know it's right in the front of the book, but one of my favorite parts of it, having taught several classes on CSS and HTML, is the way he just gets into lists and links. Because often that's one of the hardest things for people to sort of grasp, and he really just gives you a clinic on it.
Yeah. It's a great way, and a lot of times we learn how to mark them up, but not necessarily why you should mark them up a certain way. And he really goes into that a lot. It's really great.
Yeah, I mean that is a good section. I mean, just how to build that nav, how to tweak the list. I mean, he even goes into how to use it to like do graphing and things like that. And I thought that was really clever. Now, there's a lot of stuff in here. Like I said, he goes through the litany of things like lists, using them to make navigation, using RGBA. He talks a lot about progressive enrichment.
Yeah.
Rewarding people who come to your sites with newer browsers by giving them something really rich and interesting to use.
And one thing about that I liked a lot was that it takes away, if you can really think about things in the way that he's thinking about them, it takes away a lot of the fear of implementing these things.
It really does.
Because as a designer, you can be afraid of what it's going to break your site, or it's not going to look right, or it's not going to be exactly the same in every single browser, or you might have to do all kinds of other fancy stuff just to make it that way.
That's right. Or how am I going to push this out in a client situation, and then how am I going to support this thing?
Right.
I'm going to get in trouble and lose money later or something.
And
where are you coming from?
Out of all of this stuff, I think that's my favorite thing that this book really, is a proponent of, is that we as people working on the web, doing things on the web, can utilize the nature of the web, and that it is variable. There are a million browsers, and you know what I mean? There are all these different operating systems and all of this stuff that's different, and we fight it all the time.
That's right.
And instead of fighting it, he's kind of just working with what he has and approaching things in a really practical and I want to say simplistic, but it's just, elegant way.
Yeah.
And that, do as much with the CSS as you can. And any place that you can do more, it's just a reward. And I love that, because it means that people with better browsers get a better experience. And, you can think about that whatever way you want, but I really believe that's going to help push things in the direction that we as people building things on the web want it to go.
Absolutely. Sound like you've been drinking the Cederholm Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Well, one of the final things that I really dug about this book is like, I think it's the last chapter, where he really goes into craftsmanship and the need and the value that you should place in the high level of craftsmanship and putting that into your work. And if you know anything about Dan Cederholm, or you follow his blog Simple Bits, or just know anything about him, you'll know that he's really focused on putting a high level of craftsmanship and finish on everything.
Yeah.
Just because it might look simple doesn't mean there's not a high level of finish and a large amount of work, that gets put into something.
That's true. I think because a lot of this progressive CSS is all about real small details that make it so much better.
That's right. And a small percentage of your user base might actually never, or a small percentage might be the only ones that actually see it.
That's true. But I mean, again, it's that reward.
Yep, absolutely.
It's totally worth it, I think. And the more you use it, the more people will be interested in supporting it. The more you'll get better at just using it. It'll become part of your vocabulary.
Yeah.
It's great. It's where we need. It's where we need to be. Absolutely. If not now, in the future. That's right. And better now.
And we're just talking about the general concept that he built on top of this book. I mean, it does go through all the technical things that you want to get out of a book like this, and it's very modern. It's very up to date.
Definitely.
If there was any book that you were going to go out and buy that was to cover a lot of the most modern techniques, this is probably it.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
And techniques that you can really use now. That's the thing, is that I think he emphasizes the ones that you can really actually use on a day-to-day basis if you just decided to.
Plus, there's like 4 or 5 pages on ampersands.
Yeah, you gotta love that. That's awesome.
Pick the right ampersand. That's awesome. Well, thank you.